Hello, and welcome to Conversations with the Commissioner. I am your Commissioner, Delonte Smith, and this is a great one. I'm really excited about this conversation that we have today. Three-time BFBA champion, true athlete, SLC member, and a founding league member. Remember, there's only three of us, and this conversation is with one of them. I want to bring in team owner of the Evil Empire, Damien Palacios. Damien, how are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing great. I'm going to clap for myself a little bit because I didn't hear anybody clap.
I'm going to join you, sir. I'm going to join you. I think you do deserve, some applause. I wish I had some here to give you, but you know what? It'll come from me.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining me here at the BFBA complex and on Conversations with your Commissioner.
Well, it's a pleasure. I love this new segment that we have this season. And as soon as the commissioner asked if I was available, I made sure I was available.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I mean, we had a big win. Let me first congratulate you on being team of the week. First of our 11th season, first team of the week, sir, put up 1273, I think 0.4. Those are big numbers in week one. Currently, I think we're down in our matchup, but hey, we still got a couple of days. As I told before, we do this interview on Saturday. There is one more week in your matchup. Let me just check real quick, so we can update everybody. Unless you know what do you know where you are currently in your matchup?
I'm down. I am definitely down over, I would say, 100 points. I was winning last night, but I only had 3 guys playing, and Malcolm really took over, and he should be up over 100 right now.
So currently. You're only down 82 points. So I say, I will be honest, commissioner opinion, if you're within 100, game's still in, You got guys out here that can put up 100 points in one night. So thank you for joining me. Shall we get started, sir?
Let's jump right into it.
Fantastic. So first question that I got for you. You're 3-time champion, only 3-time champion within the BFBA. Which championship is your favorite? We got 2017, 2018, only back-to-back, and then we got 2020. We'll get into that one a little later on, but out of those 3, which one would you say is your favorite?
It would have to be one of the first 2. I know one of those, I was a real underdog, and I kind of snuck in and won. Was that the second chip?
That was
the first one.
That was your first. You came from 6th.
So that's got to be it, because I wasn't expected to win, and I just went off on a rally. And just kind of just tore up, just tore dreams apart. And that's what I'm about, really. My whole brand is just take your dream and destroy it.
Fantastic. Just to give a little context to the league who's watching this interview, you started in 6th place. At that time, we were only a playoff of 6. So 2 people didn't make because we were only a franchise of 8 at that point. We are now a franchise of 14, so you can see the growth. But yes, snuck in at, I think, the last leg of it to win the championship. So from 6th place to 1st, and that to be your first championship, I would have to agree. I think that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, because, it's part of my life being the underdog, which is crazy when you consider some of the accomplishments in life. But I love to prove people wrong. And yeah, a little bit of this. Yeah. I'm sorry if this is messing up the audio. There's a lot of metal clanking.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post. It's quite all right. Just a little known fact for those. So Donald Horton, the gentleman or the SLC, I want to say, SLC committee member who offered this idea of Conversations with the Commissioner, he is indeed the only person that you have competed against in the playoffs. So in 2017, it was you against Donald, and then we had a rematch in 2018. So I think if we get into some form of rival, that we could really consider that
I didn't realize that, but yeah. I will say that Donald is the owner that I always keep an eye on. I tell Valerie this all the time. It's something about his quietness and consistency that worries me. I never ever consider him out in the season, and I always keep an eye on him because I didn't know I beat him twice for the chip. That makes me feel a little bit better. I'm sure he's beaten me in the playoffs, but that's interesting. I didn't know that, but that's the guy that I circle and I watch throughout. I watch every move he does, and just there's something to his quietness that keeps my antennas up.
I agree. Yeah. So within your tenure, your 3 championships, your only 2 competitors that you've competed against, Donald being one of them, and your BFBA commissioner being the second. Now, that second one, or the third one, I guess we should say, did come in a COVID year. So though we did not have an opportunity to compete, it was the final standings, and you were number 1, sir, with an 18-1-2, very impressive record. And then I was right behind you. So again, congratulations. I will say it is owed. You are owed your flowers, sir. So the Evil Empire is definitely a conversation I was excited to have today.
Has anyone come close to 18 wins in a season?
So yes and no. Donald at one point had 18 wins, but it's murky because it's how ESPN does it. In BFBA history, as I am the historian as well, you hold the record for 18 wins, the most wins. I hold the second for 16 in continuous seasons. So it was the end of my championship season in 2023, continuous into the next season, 2024 season, which unfortunately was won by the Brooklyn Stoop Kids. But that's at a later time. Let's get to our next question, sir. As we just spoke, we've given flowers, 3 championships within the first 5 years. If you don't win this season, then this would be 5 years since your last championship. Do you believe that this is the year of the Evil Empire?
I feel great. I feel wonderful about the season. The last couple of years, as we turned into more of a keepers league, I had to regain my footing and figure it out. I had a terrible draft last year, and it haunts me all season. But if you look towards the end of last season, I started to piece together some players. I made a couple of deals, and we got a solid foundation, which we took into the draft. I did a lot of research. I had a lot of names circled for the draft and really try to fill out the team. If you look at my roster now, you'll see all 3 IR spots are sitting there with some heavy hitters or potentially heavy hitters. So I am going full out this year, and I don't see a team that can really compete. Some of the other teams that I worry about last season, they're getting off to some slow starts. I don't see any. There's no fear this year. I haven't seen anybody that's impressed me other than myself. And I see your computer can't handle the winning. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, sir. We had a drop in our signal here. It must be the complex. They're still working on some of the electric back in the back. We've extended into the new wing, so my apologies there. Let's go back. I just want to get this conversation because we've spoke, and some of our viewers missed some of that. So my apologies, and I may want to make sure that we extend your time. We're gonna get this right. 3 championships within the last 5 years, and then we said if we don't win this year, it would be another 5 years. But you said you do believe that this is your year, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, look at my team. Look what we did week 1. If we pull out the win this week against Malcolm, it'll be pretty impressive because he was up, 200 or more points throughout the week. And I just kind of came back towards the weekend. I don't see any other team that really impresses me. I'm looking at the rosters. There's some good teams out there, but nothing that looks loaded like what I got right now.
So BX Bay Mob, of course, we know makes a big trade last week. Is up in points, is currently leading by over 200 points. That team does not worry you in this current stature or current moment?
No, they do not. The guys he traded for, somebody over there would get hurt. It's a very fishy trade. I'm surprised we didn't have to vote on it because I was ready to veto that one. That one he was dead meat until he made that trade. But now we have Embiid floating around and an owner out there. I'm one of them that's eyeing that timetable. I'm looking to snatch up Embiid, but at a good cost.
Understood. Just a bit of clarification of why we didn't go through. We've set a standard. 350.3 points. It has to fall within the 150 on ESPN's top 100. Receiving a player, Embiid, of course, number 4. Though injured, Jalen Green is 64. So the criteria fall that it was a valid trade. And as you and I spoke offline, I will save it for this is a conversation between us. It's very candid. We cannot continue, I cannot continue to use you all as a safe fail or fall safe for certain teams. You know, these owners go into the agreement, and before we spoke, I was with the understanding that BFBA Mob had sent the trade, but that came from the DC Hustlers. So if this is how they want to pursue or move, then I feel it's, you know, we must move forward. The time will come when the SLC is needed to review a trade, and I will, you know, I will call upon you, and I appreciate, you know, the honest opinions.
Oh yeah, I think Trader Danny once called me the veto warrior, so I take that name with great pride because I'm vetoing it all. I think all these deals stink.
Well, I do ask that though we are having the conversation from a commissioner standpoint, we take some of this veto power with guidance that was given from the league. I mean, that we now have, you know, a structure. So though some, as you have said, these are your words, trades are garbage.
Yeah.
We will, you know, let's treat them as a pig with makeup.
That's good. That's good. Dress it up a little bit. Still stinks.
Exactly. Your words, not mine. So we're gonna get a little heavy here. I want to hold no punches, even for a committee member. You know, I value your opinion. Do you believe, as you just said, and I mean, we're just going to reiterate it here, that you can win your fourth, which is, again, third, unprecedented. Now we're talking fourth. Do you believe you can win your fourth championship before another owner wins their third? And realistically, we're talking Brooklyn Stoop Kids. We're talking NY Mindset of Fighters. So we're talking Holly Smith. We're talking Cedric Lucas, only two-time champions. Can we cement a legacy and say I'm a four-time champion before anybody else can pull off that third one?
So this is something I am conscious about, as Holly won her second ring, and her team is actually set up for some, you know, she can be a contender for many years to come with a lot of that young talent. I think she got 20 first-round picks in a row. I don't, and no disrespect, I don't fear Ced. I always have this thought that he'll trade himself out of contention. Holly does concern me a little bit, but what I have noticed is she is very loyal to some of her players. So if she's been rocking with you for 5-6 years, like a Spencer Dinwiddie, or if you've ever played on the Brooklyn Nets, you may get signed to Holly's team. So there's that gray area where she's loyal to her guys, maybe to a fault. Other than that, she has some players, we all know Wemby, that are just going to be a headache to have to go against for the next 15 years. So I do believe I'll get 4 before they get 3. But I do worry about Holly. Hopefully, you know, she's loyal to like the Ben Simmons and you know, like those classic net players that we need her to sign.
I will say, there, personal opinion, there may be a Brooklyn bias. I mean, our child is now named Brooklyn. So it's near and dear to the heart. Let's go back for a second though. We do not fear NY Mindset of Fighters, and other than just being, you know, a possibility that the team is going to change by the end of the season, is there any other reason why? I mean, we're two-time champion. You know, there's maybe some weight there. So, you know, you being one above, you know, that is your direct competitor. Why? Can you elaborate on why you believe that, you know, Cedric could just be a flash in the pan?
Yeah, well, there's a famous saying, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So he got his 2, you know, correct moments, and that is about it. I feel he's a little too loosey-goosey with his players. I feel like the value system isn't there. He likes you one day and he doesn't like you the next day. You never know where he's going to go, and I don't think that works for him. I don't see discipline with his team. It just looks like chaotic ruckus. No pun intended there for my boy Malcolm, but it just looks like organized chaos, for the best way to put it.
That's a tough one, because let's one, I will say, I hear the points that you're making. I just want to go, and as I'm being told, if Cedric were to finish with a W this week, he would be one of only 2 teams that would be 2-0 going into week 3. The other team could possibly be the DC Hustle. They're in a tough matchup, but they're controlling their matchup against Trader Danny. Chaotic Rockets, Nether Chosen Warriors, 11 years in the league. playoffs maybe twice, founding member. Do you feel some sympathy for the team? Do you feel some sympathy for the owner? Where do you believe that there could be some help, in your opinion, towards the team owner, or do you kind of believe they're on the path to a championship, but it's taken a little bit longer?
I think the approach for that, that organization is a little bit different. The owner, he likes his guys. He doesn't care if you're the eighth man. If he likes you as a player and what you represent, he's signing you. So some of that, works against him. He's not out here grabbing, the top flashy players that are household names. He's grabbing the guys who probably do stuff in their community and like donate back to, historical Black colleges and stuff like that. So you got to respect what he's doing and the type of people he brings in his organization. Eventually, he can make a run. It is a keepers league. So as he pieces his roster together, it might not be this year, it might not be next year, but within the next 5, I think we see him at least in the semifinals and really giving a run for the money.
I really hope so. I look forward to the interview with Malcolm. Actually, he's the next one. I'll give a little sneak peek. Coming up next, we're gonna have Malcolm. ESPN. We're gonna switch pivot here. ESPN is projecting your team to finish 5th this season. What do you believe ESPN has gotten wrong about this projection?
I don't think they've incorporated my ability to find talent late in the season. I don't really think they see the vision with kind of loading up the IR spots with some potential big-time players once they come back from injury. And, people get sick of winning. I think ESPN one time had like top 100 NBA players, and they ranked Kobe like 40-something. There's never been a time in the 2000s where Kobe was ever ranked, really the 40-something best player in the league. So they get it wrong. They get it wrong often. And I think they probably put that out to kind of light a fire under me. And challenge accepted, ESPN.
I understand. So though you've been in the league so long, the longevity, ESPN doesn't fear you as a top competitor, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what they've gotten wrong, is that though they say you're 5th, you're still number 1.
It's nuts. Like, you would think you take into account the longevity, the amount of success I've had my entire life. Like, all I do is win. This is who I am. I'm a big, cool winning machine.
Okay, and let's touch on that for a second, because I agree, and I see the championships behind you, sir. As we speak about ESPN, and I'm just going to a diagram here. We've started in 15, 4th. We were 3rd, first. That's the 17-18. Then we dropped down to about 5th. And then we're back up to, which is our 19th season. Then 2020, we're back up to number 1. Those are the 3. From that point on, we go 4th, we go 6th, we go 14th, and then we're back up to 12th in last season. So there's a slight decline. So, I mean, maybe this is the projection that ESPN is talking about. And though we're on the up, we feel as though that we can take that drastic jump from 12th to number 1, right?
100%. I never doubt myself. You can't get worse than 14th. That was a tough year for me. I'm not sure if I had my notifications on the app that year. I don't know what was going on, or maybe Sour Diesel made us circle back. I have no idea what happened that year. It was all a blur.
That Sour Diesel gets you every time.
Every time. It's not the same as it used to be, but it still punches you in the gut.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, man. And now with the grabs, we'll keep it PG. But I'm not too sure. But I think we're back. I think week 1 shows you where we're at, and mentally, I am back in the mix. We moved the chat over to WhatsApp, and that was a big deal for me because now I can be much more involved. And I think we've seen that I am back in full force. A couple of years was off. It was getting weird. Maybe the wife was holding it down for the family. She's been a great competitor while I've been in the background, just not playing well. But we're totally back. Like, I feel bad for you guys.
There's a loud, or very, very loud in my mind, and others, cry that we got to get Valar Margulis on here. There's a chant. We're there's a petition. We're getting it going. Third place. Past 3 years, I rode that road. And it took me to a championship. At one point the commissioner was going to change his team to always a bridesmaid and never a bride. That's it. But we were able to stay sham gods. So as we were just talking, sir, we're back up where we're going from 13th or 12th to number 1. If we're gonna do so, other people, as I asked the Korean Soul Brothers, a banner's got to come down for the evil empire to stay up. Correct?
That is correct.
Your better half, Valerie, owner of the Valar Morghulis. Would you like to see your better half win? And are you willing to jeopardize your season to propel her into a championship?
So, as you guys probably don't know, you don't get to see behind the scenes in the household. The last couple of years, as my team has sucked, I have been rooting for her hard. I've been updating her with her scores while she wasn't, she might be cooking the family dinner. But I have strongly withheld any actual help. I don't really confer with her on her pickups. If she was in the championship versus a team I don't want to win, I'm a man of great character, but I would be tempted to try to figure out how to slide her a player or something like that. We haven't gotten there yet, but I think listen.
It's not possible.
Yeah, if you were in a fight and the guy was kind of getting the better of you, and I'm there, it's not going to end like that. Just how it is as a friend. I don't know if I have to jump in or have to slip you a brick or a roll of quarters, but I cannot allow somebody that I care about to get their ass kicked. Just not in the blood. So I would be very, very tempted to. Now, I won't sabotage my own season for her. No way in hell. But if there was a chance where she's in the chip and she just needs that little push, good luck trying to you have to read the bylaws to see if I did anything illegal. You might want to rewrite it.
Well, I won't speak to that. I think that's a deeper conversation, and we hope that we never get to that point. From a spouse of a 2-time champion, it's tough when the playoffs are going because you want to help out, and I'll be honest, but sometimes you got to sit back and you got to just hey, let this bird fly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to get her to actually watch more. She knows basketball. She knows the NBA. But I always tell her watching the game gets you a little bit more of that insight. You'll see a guy come off the bench and the announcer say, man, the last 5 games, he's increased in minutes. I'm giving out gems here to try to help the league. But I got her to watch more games this season. And honestly, she's going to probably win her first chip before I win my 4th if I don't win this season.
So that could be, if we go back, hey, we got, do you believe, who's going to win before you? There we go.
Yeah. She has, I think I give her the highest odds just because she's been in the mix. She's been in the dance consistently the last few years.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, now we come to a tough question because it might be house divided at this point, Yeah. Who's been your biggest competition within the BFBA?
It has to be Donald. It just, does he have one chip?
He has one. He is our inaugural winner in 2015.
Oh man, that's insane. And I will say that I am not a fan that he won owner of the decade. That was crazy to me. But I do consider him my biggest competition. I got cheated for an award. I don't know.
Voted on by the league, and I mean, I will say overall win percentage. He had a better win percentage.
I count championship percentage. What's the championship percentage? He has 10%. I have 30%.
That is correct, sir. Now, if we're
triple the amount,
if he's been to more championships, he's been to 4 championships. Winner of 1 though. So I mean, that is also a stat that that we carry out there. His record is 1-3, or sorry, 1-4. My apologies.
It's very LeBron-esque there. And while I'm feeling like Jordan, But, it is what it is. It's what the kids like. And as I mentioned before, people get tired of winners. It annoys them. I get it. I've been doing this my whole life. I've seen it. Makes sense. So they didn't want to give me that last bit. They know who the owner of the decade is. We all know. Are we kidding me?
I'll leave that for the league, sir. I will add, or I do want to piggyback off of this, that last week we spoke to owner, Korea South Brothers, Felton Kinchin. There was some question or some thought, within the league, a little bit of chatter that there's a rivalry between the Evil Empire and Korea Soul Brothers. Overall, league history, 1-5 within regular season. You carrying that record, so I guess it would be for you 5-1. As we've spoken before, would you consider that a record? I do have another owner as well, I think, that has a different record that we can have a conversation after this. But just on Korea Soul Brothers, Felton Kinchin, do you want to rebuttal to last week? Do you believe that this is a rivalry?
No, it's not a rivalry. It's just me kicking his ass over the last few years. That's all it is. If he's 1-5, and I had a season where I was 14th, how bad is this guy's team? This year, a little bit better. I think he'll be at least 500. But there's no rivalry there. You have to beat me a few times. Beat me in the playoffs or something. There's nothing there. Only thing there is he's the funniest in the league probably. And that's not something I'm going for. He can have that. But when it comes to, these players going out there and putting up numbers, my guys do it every time.
If this was medieval times, or if we were going back there, you're saying that he is more of a court jester, whereas you, sir, are a king. You sit on thrones. You have championships, correct? Is that what we're saying?
100%. He is an unnamed henchman. He doesn't have a name tag. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't even give him a name tag yet. He's still on that 30-day probation period. Meanwhile, I get to choose if I want the velvet robe or if I want the satin robe. You understand what I'm saying?
That's elegant, sir. I do understand. I mean, the Evil Empire is elegant, and I understand that.
I'm wearing a collared shirt. You can't see because of the medals, but this is collared.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. I thank you. Thank you again for wearing, and the championships, sir. You've taken it to another level, and I really appreciate you for this interview. Really quick, let's get another one in. Another one who could say they don't have a name tag just yet. BFBA Mob, Randy Aries, kind of has had your number for these past few years. The overall record is a 1-5 the other way, 5 him, 1 you. What do we say there? I mean, we've spoken with decline, but we're on the way up. So maybe that can speak for it. But is this a threat? I mean, one's not a rival, but how about the mob?
Well, I guess we'll give him some credit here. He's beaten me more than I've taken some L's come his way. Unfortunately, some people in the league have decided to load up his roster. I think he had Giannis and Embiid. These are trades that were just never supposed to happen. And this happened during a time where, sour diesel was pretty prevalent. They were just, that substance has become more affordable in the last few years, and it takes a little bit of an adjustment. But we're sober. We're completely sober now. We're ready to go, and I look forward to facing him this season. He did pull off a kind of a season-saving trade. He wasn't looking too sharp, so we're going to battle, and we're going to even that up. So I tip my hat, but I don't believe the hype. I don't think, because he doesn't have a ring yet. So what is all this regular season winning stuff? If you can't win at all.
Understood. I mean, I don't want to say I agree because I want to see everyone win within the league. But I mean, hey, we're circling that one on the schedule.
Yes. Yeah. I got to get my lick back. Pause.
Let's switch hats. We're gonna take this one off. We're gonna put on another one. Let's move as a committee member. An SLC member. Should say member, my apologies, and one of the founders of this league as we spoke to today. Where do you see the league currently, and the state of the league I'm speaking of?
I actually believe that the league today is in the best position it's been in the last decade plus. It's very impressive to see, and I have to give you your flowers. You're doing a beyond amazing job. when you were in school and like you get like 100 on a test, but then you can get some extra credit. Well, you're killing the extra credit as well. I think you're taking it to a place where maybe one day we have actual fans of the league who are not in the league but pay attention to the league. Maybe one day this is a YouTube series. I'm seeing the vision through the commissioner's eyes and where he's trying to build this. And I am just excited to be one of the first members, to be an SLC committee member, to be a 3-time champion. Like, I had no idea that this would be a thing. And here we are doing, live interviews, and I have a jacket on the way with patches and stickers and T-shirts. And so right now the trajectory is similar to what we're going to see from Evil Empire. It's just on the way up. There were some shadowy years where the commissioner was desperate for a championship, but I think getting one under his belt just added to just the relief, the pressure. I don't know what it's like in that household to have such a great talent as a wife that has multiple championships. I don't know how it must have been eating you up, but we're at a great place now. I think our commissioner, our SLC members, we're all doing well with mental health, and we're seeing it.
I agree, sir, and I want to thank you for those. Yes, it was rough. When the weight is lifted off your shoulders, when you can put that jersey on. One day we'll get you one. They're only retroactive if you win a new one, just so you're aware. So one day, hopefully, you can wear that, that Demon's Evil Empire jersey. But yes, sir,
it's coming.
It is. I agree. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's
make the mock-up now. Just have the draft ready to go so that when it happens, you could just, click and send over to who you need to send over to.
We'll offline that, sir. Well, maybe if we're doing well halfway through the season, that'll be a discussion that we could really have. We're getting close to the end. I want to thank you, sir, for taking the time. This has been fantastic. We're growing, as you said. The trajectory is up, and it started with you. This started over a fantasy basketball game in 2K between Malcolm, myself, and you, and here we are, sir.
I don't remember the origin here. Did I felt like Malcolm would have thrown this idea out there before I did.
So yes, you and Malcolm came off of work in TRC. I was at home because I just come from Juilliard. We were about to play 2K, and he comes busting through the door. Yo, man, ESPN's got fantasy basketball. We need to start a league. And I'm like, man, I don't want to start no freaking basketball league. The day before the league started, it was the inaugural members were Donald, Holly, you, Malcolm, myself, Felton, and a gentleman by the name of Chris Gallen.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
He fell off. Felton fell off, but then came back. At one point, we expanded to 20. People weren't paying attention. We brought it down to 8 and started to grow from there. I think the trash talk is what really has built this league, and we got a nice championship to hold. It looks really nice when it sits on that mantle, and I think you can attest to that, sir.
I miss that trophy a lot. I think about it all the time.
That's fantastic. Let's get to our last question. As sometimes the trades can get crazy in here. We discussed one today between DC Hustlers, BX Bay Mob, that set BX up for a really nice season. What's your opinion on the nature of trading? It created our bylaws. It's really kind of trading within this league has formed this league, and how we operate. Where do you think we stand?
I think it's the wild, wild west. I think we have some guys out there who are just wheeling and dealing, and it excites them. We saw, people trading draft picks. So many people before the draft ended up with worse draft picks than they started with. They just traded their way out. So I think it's an exciting tool, but I don't think many owners are really tracking what they're freaking doing. So it worries me because I can build a great roster, and a guy, like Randy or a guy like Kyle, who are very slick with their trades, can just be out of contention, make one move, and now they have the best roster in the league. So it worries me. I lose sleep over it. Parts of me thinks I need to be a dirtbag and start trying to, throw some bad trades out there to see if anyone bites. But I'm worried about it.
Interesting. So not that it was a warning shot, but it's a kind of, Randy and Kyle, the deals that you do and I'm just asking, could be dirty, could be backhanded. And you think that, is it an honest win if they make these deals, or do you believe that, the league allows it? So, hey, maybe I need to change with the times.
If it's legal, then I need to adjust. I can't fault them for finding a sucker. I can't. But it's tough. It's tough because, you're trying to fly straight and then you see somebody and he got a booster pack and all of a sudden he went from 8th to being a real contender. But that's part of it. That's part of competition. And, I'm not going to complain too much if any of them win the chip. Well deserved. I just have to adjust and maybe get down and dirty.
Well, sir, I mean, as a 3-time champion, sometimes, if we're going to win again, we have to alter, reality. So hopefully I see you in the finals, sir. Hopefully I see you in the championship.
The league needs that. The league needs me to beat you in the finals.
And we'll save that for another conversation. Damien, I want to thank you, sir, for taking this out. This has been a fantastic interview. Ladies and gentlemen, owner of the Evil Empire, Damien Palacios, SLC member, and your only currently 3-time champion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy I can take this off. It's very heavy, but I look forward to watching this. And thank you again for putting everything together and all that you do for the league.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. This has been Conversations with Your Commissioner.